Oh, hello, and welcome to my Skyrim Q&A session. Hi, it's nice to have you. Thank you so much, everybody, for submitting your comments on Instagram, on Twitch, on Twitter, and here on the community tab page on YouTube. I thought it would be a good idea to make this video to answer as many of your questions as I could, because there's a lot of you here. And a lot of people that have watched that Skyrim playthrough. I'm not really sure what to say about that, other than thank you so much for the crazy support. It's safe to say I didn't think that this many people would be interested in it, but here we are. You guys have asked so many questions in the comments. You've asked, am I going to be playing again? You've asked about mods. You've asked about what games I've played. You've asked about why I play it as a blind playthrough. You've asked about what a blind playthrough is, what backseat gaming is, who's my favorite character that I've met, what's my favorite bit of the lore, where's my favorite place, do I remember Lydia, or is it Linda? Wait, no, it's Lola. Wait, what's her name again? Anyway, so you've asked me a whole lot of questions. Some of them are about me, some of them are about Skyrim, some of them are about the stream, but there were quite a few that kept cropping up all the time, so I figured, let's just have a chat. Let's sit down and have a chat about it, shall we? I also need to say, if you've stumbled upon this video and you're expecting it to be a Q&A about Skyrim lore and about kind of explaining the meaning of Skyrim and like the intricacies of how to play, I'm not your girl. Maybe one day. But that day is not today. All right, this is a Q&A to sort of explain a little bit about my playthrough because I have a lot of explaining to do. So while the Skyrim playthrough was actually only uploaded within the last few months, it was a year ago that I was playing it. I originally played it on Twitch. Twitch is my main platform. You'll find me over there streaming full time, so come say hi. And thank you to everybody who has come to say hi. It's been lovely to meet you. I originally played on Twitch in 2019 and we had all of the footage of that kept on Twitch. Earlier on in 2020, there was a situation on Twitch where lots of content creators got copyright strikes for particular songs that were in clips or were in past videos. And while that wasn't something that we were really worried about, what it kind of did shake in me was actually what if something were to happen to Twitch? Because all of these playthroughs of all of these games that I love, what if they got lost? And I kind of had this kind of almost like, this is going to sound ridiculous, but almost this kind of like heartache, like, whoa, like all of these amazing times that we've had together as community and all of these games that I loved, and like, what if they just disappeared and went off into the... No. This kind of led to Musapan and I going through the catalogue, and we were just looking at what we had. We were kind of categorizing things and thinking, what can we do with this? And we kind of realized that actually we really wanted a backup of some sort. So we started exporting some of our Twitch videos directly onto YouTube, kind of as a bit of an archive more than anything, never with the intention that they were ever going to be published. I don't even really remember the thought process. I just remember that once it was up there, we just thought, well, should we just release it anyway? Like, maybe somebody will be interested in it. What's the worst that could happen? Well, it turns out the worst that could happen is that several 100,000 people could watch me take an arrow to the knee. Also, something that I've just got to get out of the way. No, I'm not Irish. I'm not Scottish. I'm English. I live in a place called Cambridge in England, in the United Kingdom. Thanks for saying nice things about my voice and about my accent. I also hear that you guys
really like story time.
Story time?
Story time. Story time.
For those of you who missed it, I use an audio interface called a Go XLR, which is especially designed for streamers, and it has a voice changer on it. Story time. A lot of you have said really nice things about my hair as well. Thank you. I grew it myself. One of the biggest questions is about what a blind playthrough is. There've been a lot of people coming in and going, oh my God, I expected you to be blind. And it was a bit of an education for me because we use the term blind playthrough on Twitch all the time, but actually it doesn't seem to be so widely used on YouTube. Basically what it means is that I'm effectively going in blind, effectively going in with a blindfold on. I've got no idea. I have absolutely no idea what to do in the game. Yes, it was completely blind. That has been a question quite a lot as well. Yes, I really didn't play Skyrim until 2019. I was addicted to World of Warcraft for 11 years, on and off. I mained a Resto Druid.
I also tanked as a Druid as well, but mostly I Restoed, and King Wrath of the Lich King I named as a Disc Priest.
For those of you who asked, thanks for asking. That meant that I missed out on a lot of stuff, including Skyrim. But it's alright guys, I played it now. And I didn't just miss out on Skyrim, I missed out on a lot. I think another really important thing to talk about is why I play the way that I do. Why I play things completely blind, with no spoilers, with no hints, with no tips, with no backseat gaming. And the reason that I play it like that is because it's the most fun for me. I know that that's not for everybody. I know that a lot of people like to play a game for success and to get the furthest or the quickest or to do the best or to understand as much as possible. I can get that way sometimes with games too, but largely I just want to have fun, like especially when it's an open world adventure. Like, let me just go for a walk and talk to a dragon. Like, let me go and see what the other side of the wall is. Let me lose my focus and go and read a book instead. And like, I want to pick the flowers, you know what I mean? I'm a firm believer in making mistakes. You'll find things that nobody ever thought that you'd find. You experience the game in such a unique way and such a you way, and you get to play it through your eyes and have fun for yourself, as opposed to kind of looking things up and doing things the kind of like normal way, I guess. This is really hard to describe, but basically, I don't play for success. I don't play to be perfect. I don't play to be efficient. I play to have fun. And fun to me is hanging out with my friends, playing a game, and learning about it. And I've got to tell you, when you do something with no help and you finally get it right, oh my God, that feeling of victory. There's nothing quite like it, even if it does take you 30 minutes to solve a claw puzzle. Doing it the Kolo way, more difficult and definitely not what the developers intended, but somehow making it work anyway. Thanks, Cypher. So let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say the house yarl that's not in the room. Lisa, Linda, Lola, Lucy. Hello, Lola. You guys making me feel bad about Lisa all the time. Poor Linda, poor me. I didn't deserve this. I didn't mean for her to die. I feel bad enough as it is already. Can we just leave it there, please? I don't know where she is. She abandoned me and I don't want to talk about it. Really sorry, Lisa. To all of those who asked what my favorite part of the playthrough was, what my favorite quest was, what my best memory of, honestly, all of it is party snacks. All right, let's call him by his real name, Parthenax. His actual name is Party Snacks, just in case you didn't know. He's my favorite. I still haven't completed the quest line, and don't tell me about it because I'm scared. I just want to be him. I just want to be like him, but I'm the Dragonborn, right? So I must be at least part dragon. So maybe there's hope. Maybe there is hope, and I can be just like Party Snacks. Elaplum on YouTube, thank you for asking who my most favorite and most despised NPCs were. Most favorite, definitely Party Snacks. Most despised, Barkus. Hear me out on this one, right? I got a lot of time for the dude. He helped me out. He tanked like there was no other tank in the world. There literally wasn't. So, I mean, I understand that. He did wonders. He was delightful. He worked hard. He got me through quests I wouldn't have got through, but he doesn't shut up. Hey Friends asks, how many times have you died in this game? Well, my answer to that is yes. Thank you to this name, which I'm scared of pronouncing wrong, on Instagram, who asked me what my favorite Skyrim book was. Quite frankly, it's a no-brainer. It's a very easy choice. The Lusty Argonian Maid. I'm still after part 1, by the way. I still haven't found it. I will. I'll find it. It's the last thing I do. I'll find it. I think the most frequently asked question has been, when is more Skyrim coming? Yes, I will be going back to Skyrim. I'm not entirely sure when yet, but I do know that the first place that you will see that is on Twitch. I will stream it live on Twitch, and then after that, the uploads will come over to YouTube. But Kolo, why are you not playing with mods? I got this question so many times, it's unreal. The reason I don't play with mods when I play a game, first of all, is because I want to experience the game that it is. I know you guys, there's bugs, I get it, I got it. It's the special edition, so there are a lot of bug fixes in that, as far as I understand anyway. The way that I tend to explain this is by using the analogy of a recipe. A game that I haven't played is a recipe that I haven't made before. A game that I'm playing blind is a recipe that I haven't made before. I haven't seen anybody else make it. I've never really seen the food, and I certainly haven't tasted it. And yet the first time that I'm making the recipe, I've decided to like go off piece and like add a whole load of salt or a whole load of sugar, or like, you know, add some basil, and it's actually ice cream that I'm making. Basically what I'm saying is that I wanted to make the recipe once and see what it tasted like and see how I liked it and the changes that I wanted to make, because I felt that I wouldn't understand what it was in its basic form. if I did that, I felt like I was embellishing it before really understanding it. I just wanted to understand the game myself, and I wanted to understand what I wanted from the game and how I played it and how much fun I could have with it without getting lost in the rabbit hole of mods, spending hours making them work, and actually I felt that would take the fun away, not add it, so I just didn't do it. David on Instagram asks, it might not be very relevant yet, but how might we suggest mods for the future? There isn't a way to suggest them now, but do keep your eyes on the community tab on the YouTube page, which is the same place that I asked you guys to submit questions for this video. And in the future, before I come back to Skyrim, I do have a whole bunch of questions for you guys, and that's where I'll be asking them. One of the most frequently asked questions was, are you happy with how you played it, or would you do it differently? If you go back to it, will you start a fresh playthrough? Will you go back? Will you still have Barbas? Would you keep your original character? Would you play an orc? Would you choose a different play style? Which class build? Like, so many people have asked this in so many different ways. So, number one, do I wish I'd have played the game differently? Actually, no. I really enjoyed it. I understand that this kind of playstyle isn't right for everybody. I just wanted to jump in a game, to run around, to have fun, to explore, and I really enjoyed it. So yes, I'm happy with how I played it, and I don't think I would have played it differently. If I go back to it, yes, I will be going back to it. That's a whole other question. Yes, I will be going back to it. If I go back to it, will I change character? Will I still have Barbas? All of these things. In order to answer this question, I'm going to have to just talk a little bit about what happens at the end of episode 20. So, if you haven't watched episode 20, you need to look around for this number of seconds. So, at the end of episode 20, you see me fly away on Odoving. Did I pronounce it right? Help. I did play a little bit after that. I did play a little bit involving the kind of area quest thing that happens after you land on Odoving. I did actually start that, and that was where I stopped my playthrough. Not out of disinterest, just to clarify that. Not because I didn't like it, not because I don't plan to go back, I do. Firstly, I'd played a lot of Skyrim. I know that there'll be people in the comments like, hey Kolo, like that's just a couple of hours. I've got like 5,000 hours in Skyrim. It was a lot of Skyrim in a short space of time. I was feeling a bit burnt out on it. And I don't think that's a bad thing. If you love a game that much, it serves you well to take a break from it, because when you come back to it, it's like really special again. And it's got that kind of like new sense of discovery that won't ever be a patch on the first time that you played. But coming back to it, there's always this kind of like fresh perspective that's really great. I also, for that gauntlet run, I got to the point where I know that I need to go back and I need to focus on the things that I have just completely ignored, because all I wanted to do was run around Skyrim and have fun. So those things are, I want to go back, I want to look at kind of profession-y stuff, I want to look at skill trees. I actually want to, this might cause a little bit of controversy, I actually want to complete the Barbas quest, and I want to say goodbye to him. So long, Barbas, and thanks for all the barks. Also, the area that we left, I actually can't take Barbas with me. And I think that was kind of the push that I needed to go, all right, well, let's go back and let's relearn these things that you skipped over. Let's do that. And I think this is symbolic of the kind of two gamers that I am. The first kind, which is like, hey, let's just enjoy this. I don't want to know anything about it. I want to dive in completely blind. Number two is like, I'm getting good now. And it's kind of that competitive side. It's like that self-competitive side where I want to really succeed and I want to do it well. I feel like Skyrim is in this place for me where it's transitioning from one to the other. So, to get back to the original question, which was if I carry on, would I do it differently? Yes, sort of. So I actually plan to have the conversation with you guys before I start up the playthrough again. That will be here on YouTube. That will also be on social media. So go and say hello to me on Twitter and Instagram, please. I will ask you over there. I think the first thing that I would do is I would go back and I would complete the Barbas quest, which is terrifying because I'm terrified of Barbas and what he might do. He's a savage, all right? And then I would literally work backwards and I'd go through all of the things that I just haven't paid attention to. I would do all of those things before I continued with the quest line. Yes, I will still be going back as an orc. It will be same character, same place, and starting off with Barbas, but then quite swiftly saying goodbye to him. And in terms of mods, there might be a few that I use. I feel that I know that there are some things that I would really benefit from. So I would really like to have a better bag organizing space. And just kind of like really small utility things like that, I think I would probably look into. I don't want to fundamentally change the game. I don't want to overload mods, but I think that I might look into one or two things. The problem is, right, if I look into one or two mods, I'm going to get lost. We're going to be down the rabbit hole. It's going to be entirely problematic. I don't quite know what to say about this comment. Other than I feel seen. I feel so seen. And I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to pick the flowers. They were just so ready. All right. Jake on Instagram asked if I'm planning to join the Skyrim space program. Why? I already have. Yiffy on Instagram asked how many potatoes were collected. Not enough. The answer is not enough. Loads of people have asked really similar question about what my favorite parts were, what my favorite things were. Punch It on Instagram asked what my favorite city. Mike on YouTube asked which city or town was my favorite and which one would I live in if I could. Okay, well, my favorite place was Blackreach. I loved it. It was just so beautiful. It's just that beautiful kind of colorful vibe. It was so different from anywhere else. And I would like to sort of live there. Just hear me out, all right? I'd like to sort of live there, except without all of the dangerous stuff. And I'd like to build a little hobbit house, and I'd like there to be like a little sunlight, like, in the ceiling that like lets all the light in, and then it pours down onto like some kind of like cool river or something that flows through Blackreach, and then there's like a little house. And basically, I want to create a village inside Blackreach and then live there. Vinny is asking on YouTube, if I lived in Skyrim, what would I be? An alchemist, an adventurer, a potato farmer? You know me so well. I feel like I'd make potions out of potatoes somewhere in Blackreach on a farm. And Traveller on YouTube asks how I would rate the game in terms of potato content. It's a solid yes. I also want to bring you guys up to date because so much has changed. It was a year ago that this playthrough was recorded, and it feels simultaneously like yesterday and like a million years ago. Reading your comments and sharing kind of your experience of it has made me be like, all right, let's play, let's go, let's do it. So it will happen, it will happen. A few really big things have changed. The first one is, as you might have seen, I moved house. This is my new place. I now have a dedicated office, which is awesome to be able to say. I also passed my driving test. Check! We've played some really beautiful indie games recently with some gorgeous stories. I've also finished playing Outer Wilds, which was exceptional and has very quickly become one of my favorite games. So if you'd like to see that on YouTube, let us know in the comments and maybe it'll appear. I'd also love to show you what's changed with my setup. This is what my office looks like. Ding! And also say a giant thank you to Logitech G, who have sponsored this video and sent me a whole bunch of beautiful things, especially this keyboard. Oh my god, it's brilliant, to show you and to talk to you about. When I first moved into the office, I was like, yes, I've got loads more space. This is gonna be fantastic. And I actually really quickly learned it's not about having more space, it's about using your space far more wisely, even when you have it. So I went from having a desk in a room that was a multifunctional room and not much room for my setup, to a desk in an office, in a dedicated office, which is really awesome. However, I still had this problem of just having no room. Every time I was trying to do something, I had to move everything. It was driving me crazy. And that's the first thing that I love so much about this, is it's so little. This is the Logitech G915 wireless Lightspeed TKL. The TKL stands for 10 keys less. Look at the size difference here. A baby tiny mechanical keyboard with delightful RGB goodness. Oh no, yes please. You can see it has the dedicated media controls, and it also has just over here the ability to switch between Lightspeed wireless and Bluetooth, which means that I can take it and use it on my laptop without even unplugging everything, which is spectacular. I've said this a lot about all of the Logitech G products I own. It doesn't feel cheap. There is nothing about this that feels like a plastic child's toy. It's heavy and solid enough to feel real and weighty, which doesn't make any sense unless you know exactly what I'm talking about and you've had a mechanical keyboard that just feels completely plasticky. It doesn't do that. Good things, my friends, really do come in small packages, and small packages with a 1ms response rate, guys. A 1ms wireless response rate seems good. So in short, if you're after something that is not a toy, that is a really sleek, beautiful addition to your office, that's not like a plasticky toy, that does the job, that has a super fast response rate and has 40 hours battery life, boy, do I have the keyboard for you. Thank you so much, Logitech, for sending me this beautiful keyboard and a whole bunch of other stuff when I first moved in. If you want any more info about it, all of the links are down there in the description. Please go and check them out. So I just want to say an absolutely massive thank you for watching the videos, for talking to me about them, for commenting, for asking all of your questions. It's been lovely to get to know you all. And more Skyrim some point in the future. But again, the first place it will happen is over on Twitch. So definitely come and hang out over there if you would like to do that. All right, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all. Bye, 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 bye. I'm not Irish. I'm not Scottish. I am ginger.